NYJ Podcast with Liam and Italy Jet.
Down the afterburners. He's gone. Touchdown Jets. Brees Hall inside the 10. He's going to score.
First interception by Gardner.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Liam here, Everything NYJ Podcast, riding solo tonight for episode 82. Thank you guys for joining us. So this was actually kind of an impromptu show, believe it or not. I'm going to put the link. Oh, what did I do here? I can't run the show by myself. I'm going to try my best. Put this here. Let's see. Can I even do this? There we go. I think I did it. If anybody would like to join us, feel free to come on. I don't even know if I did this correctly, believe it or not. Yep, I think I did. Hopefully. I don't know. This is already a disaster. We're just starting off. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Armand, what's going on? So yeah, this was a little promptu show. Believe it or not, so this morning when Randall Cobb signed, I was just going to do a little video about that when I got home from work. And then when I get home, I find out that Al Wood signed. So I was going to do something like that, and then, we got the Mekhi Becton not picking up his fifth-year option, AVT saying that he's ready. So I just figured, you know what, why not just talk to everybody live? Why not get everybody's opinion down in the comment section, see how everybody's feeling about all these moves? I'm super excited about it, to be completely honest with you. Armin, if you want to hop on, I shared the link. I could try it again to make sure I got it correctly. If you want to hop on, you don't have to, but here we go. Can I even do this? Let's see. Yeah, I think it works. You don't have to, but if anybody wants to hop on for a little while, feel free. Not going to be on too long, this might be 10, 15, 20-minute show. Riding solo tonight, Italy Jet has something else going on. Abby says, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Abby. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Missed you last week. I don't think you were on with Fireman Ed. She said she had to work. So we got that going on. So yeah, a lot of just Jets news going on. I figured why not just come in and talk to everybody about it, see how everybody's feeling. Starting off with all of the signings, I definitely think that the Jets bringing in veteran wide receiver Randall Cobb, it's a very good move. He's cheap, quality depth. Actually, statistically, he had more production last year than Elijah Moore did. So looking, he's 33 years old. He's not costing the team a lot of money. He's probably wide receiver 6. I mean, so you got to figure 5 or 6, depending on how you look at it. So you got to figure that we have Garrett Wilson as wide receiver 1, Aaron Lazard as 2, Mecole Hardman as 3, Corey Davis at 4, and then you could really have your pick between Denzel Mims and Randall Cobb for 5 and 6. I would probably say Cobb is 5 and Mims is 6. Then you got to wonder, are the Jets willing to keep 6 wide receivers? I like all the depth. I really do. Some people are saying that they should have drafted Najigba instead of signing a veteran Randall Cobb. I completely disagree. I love this Randall Cobb signing. I mean, would I be happy if we got Najigba? Absolutely, 100%. No doubt. But the Jets are pretty much set as far as like the wide receiver position goes. I've been saying it for a long time that if we weren't going to be drafting somebody, I definitely wanted a veteran or a free agent, whoever you guys choose. Ended up being Randall Cobb. There was apparently, all the OBJ nonsense going on for a while, which some people wanted him, some people didn't. Like I said, not to sound like a broken record here, but I am 100% fine with Randall Cobb. And Abby Fresh says Jets looking really good. Yeah, they are. They're looking real good. This is a Super Bowl contending team, no doubt, 100%. Some people are saying there's a lot of narrative by the national media saying that the Jets are giving in to Aaron Rodgers' demands and Aaron Rodgers is running the team. But that's not a bad thing. We have a veteran quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, and we're giving him something that Green Bay didn't, and that's a voice. Aaron Rodgers has a vision for what he wants. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Tom Brady did it in Tampa. I mean, Peyton Manning did it in Denver. It happens. It happens. It's the way it is. There's nothing wrong with it. Abby here says Cobb will definitely be an asset in the playoffs. Yeah, 100%. Randall Cobb, 33 years old, definitely on the back end of his career. Uh, but he still has that speed. He's still fast. He could still go. Am I predicting 1,000-yard season and some, like record-breaking season by him? No, absolutely not. But 3, 4, 500 yards, I'm cool with it. 25, 30 catches. Yeah, I think if at that point, he's earned his contract. I don't think the numbers for his contract have come out yet. Abby says Al Woods and Quinnen. That's going to be stout. Yeah, Abby, we're going to get into that in a minute here once I finish talking about Randall Cobb. But I don't think the numbers came out for Randall Cobb's contract yet. But I can't imagine it's much. Maybe 2, 3 million. I could be wrong, but maybe even just like 1 million, the veteran minimum. Whatever it is, I don't think it's going to be a super non lucrative deal for the Jets. I think it's gonna be a very fair contract. Jigga Porto, what's going on, my man? Hope you're good. Hope everybody else in the chat's good. Abby and then Armin's here. Hope everybody's all good. Like I said, if you guys are just coming in, just a little impromptu show, not gonna be going on for an hour or anything crazy like that. Probably only just a couple minutes. But getting back to Randall Cobb for a second, it's not that the Jets are caving in to Aaron Rodgers' demands. Because if that was the case, we would have had OBJ. We would have. But this is just something. It's not just Aaron Rodgers. This is Nathaniel Hackett too. And typically, when a new head coach signs or something like that, a new head coach is hired or a coordinator, players tend to come over. Now, we all saw the disaster in Denver with Nathaniel Hackett. So I don't think many Denver Broncos are going to be following Nathaniel Hackett to New York. But Nathaniel Hackett made quite the name for himself with Green Bay, even landing him the job with the Denver Broncos as head coach. You could say whatever you want. It didn't work out. Russell Wilson looked like absolute trash out there, which is true. He did. He did. But some people, some coaches are just better at being a coordinator. I mean, Todd Bowles is the perfect example. We saw Todd Bowles in here. And Todd Bowles, terrible head coach. Terrible. We're even seeing that with his second run with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, he couldn't even get Tom Brady into the playoffs. That's how bad it was. But as a defensive coordinator, I mean, my nose is itchy. Allergies are just driving me nuts, to be completely honest with you. But as a defensive coordinator, he's done such a good job that he's landed himself 2 head coaching jobs. Now, granted, down in Tampa Bay, that's a whole different story with, Bruce Arians leaving and, Todd Bowles just stepping up. Completely different situation. Armin says Cobb is getting $3 million guaranteed with the ability to earn up to $4 million, according to Jordan Schultz. I'm okay with that. I don't think anybody's complaining about that. That's what I said. 2, 3 million, 4 million with incentives. Hey, listen, if he gets it and he earns the incentives, then yeah, you pay him the extra million. It's coming out of Woody Johnson's pocket. It's not my money. I don't care. Give him an extra million. But he's a cheap signing. He's depth. He's just going to be almost like another coach. He's going to be helping. Well, Alan Lazard doesn't need because he knows the Hackett system by now. But guys like Garrett Wilson and Denzel Mims, even Corey Davis, just somebody that knows the system that could just help out in the wide receiver room. He's almost like an extra coach. I'm not mad about it at all. I love this signing. Some people are saying that it's ridiculous and, it's a terrible signing. And the New York Packers, yeah, you could make all the jokes you want about it. Sign Jordy Nelson's and bring in Jennings and sign Clay Matthews for the defense. You can make all the jokes you want about it. We were allowed to do that. Abby says, I got to get Madden when it comes out. Yeah, I tend to get Madden every year too, Abby. And I got to be honest, Madden 23 sucks. For some reason, I had high expectations for this game. And I don't know if it's just me not being a good video game guy, but I just feel like it's harder than it has been in past years. That could just be my opinion. If you guys play Madden and you guys have a different opinion, let me know in the comment section down below in the live chat. This is a live chat now. We're not just doing the comment section. But if you guys are watching it later on, then yeah, let me know down there. But yeah, I don't know. Just my personal opinion. I felt like it was harder this year. I was a little disappointed because John Madden was on the cover. The game was dedicated to the late great John Madden. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be a really fun game. and it has been here and there, but I just feel like you really gotta play really hard in the game. I don't know if that's just me or not, but so yeah, I mean that's gonna pretty much wrap up my Randall Cobb rant here. What do you guys think? Do you guys like the Randall Cobb signing? Do you guys think that he's gonna get a lot of touches? I wonder what's gonna get him to that 4 million. I wonder what his incentives are. Maybe a couple touchdowns, maybe 500 yards or so. I don't know, but he has that connection with Aaron Rodgers. It's another familiar face for Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett, just somebody that's going to continue to just build the team. This is good because oh wait, what do we got here? We got Armin coming on. I'll add Armin to the stream if he wants. What's up, Armin?
Hey, Liam, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. I got some Jets news today after the draft.
Yeah.
So the Cobb.
Yeah. What do you think about Cobb?
So it wasn't surprising. The money's a little bit surprising, but not too much because you figure he's gonna get. It's the Rodgers rate.
Yeah.
If Rodgers wasn't here, maybe the Jets get him for $1 million, $1.5 million. But they give him a little bit more to come. I don't hate it. I don't like he is coming here as the battling for the 5th, 6th spot. I do think Corey Davis is more on the bubble than Mims right now because of the cap situation. I do think if you bring in the 6 receivers as is right now at camp, I think Mims becomes a part of the bubble, because the one thing about him, his pro is he's big and he could block. That's why I think he's the clone to Allen Lazard. Like if you said to me, Lazard's gonna mentor Mims, wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me with Rodgers if Mims put up, I said 55 to 60 catches, about 600 to 800 yards, and let's say 5 to 7 touchdowns, like what I believe Lazard would do with Aaron. They're somewhat similar, big body. His best quality right now with Mims is his blocking and his speed. So,
that's the big thing too. The big thing with him too is just being able to get on the field and staying on the field. I mean, he hasn't always been given the opportunities, and when he is given the opportunities, let's be honest. I mean, he's always good for a penalty and a big drop. But then he always has that big one wow catch, like that catch that really wows you and says like this guy belongs on the field more. So
his best game was the preseason game against the Giants.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was his breakout game, and you could argue that's because he wanted the trade. But so you got to wonder, like, is there a pissed off Denzel Mims that could really excel in this offense? I don't know if that's the case. I'm excited to see him with a new regime of a proven offensive coordinator, something like Nathaniel Hackett, to see if he could really turn it around. This is going to be the big test for him because he's coming on. They're going to have to pick up his 5th-year option soon too, and right now I don't see
for Mims. There's no 5th-year option because he wasn't a first-round pick.
A first-round pick, yeah, but like eventually they're going to have to figure out something to do with him.
Either they cut him if he doesn't make the roster in August, at the end of August, or he becomes like a trade piece and a pick swap. Like if
if the Jets could somehow get like better value for him, then I personally think you do it. I mean, he just hasn't shown enough yet, and
I agree.
He's a good backup. He's a good backup. He plays special teams. I think he's playing special teams now, but that was like the one. Is he playing special teams? Do you know? Because I think that was a problem with. He's not really, right?
He did last year more for blocking purposes on special teams.
Yeah, but like I don't think he was like earlier on in his career. But
I
think that was part of the
coaching staff. Remember, he was part of the Gase era, and he shined with Gase because that's the type of receiver Gase liked.
Abby says keeping Davis won't hurt, but if Mims doesn't show up with AR, then at the helm, then yeah, I mean she's kind of right. Like I mean, like this is really his last chance because it's kind of clear that the coaching staff didn't like him. Robert Saleh didn't seem to like him. LaFleur didn't like him, although LaFleur clearly had his favorites, whether they were for the better or worse of the team. But Abby's right though. This is his last chance. If Aaron Rodgers can't help you excel. Because Aaron Rodgers makes everybody around you better. If you're not going to become a better player with somebody like a future Hall of Fame quarterback throwing you the ball, then sayonara. I don't know what to tell you.
Very few teams
Um,
will take that player on their team. Like he might get a chance to be on a roster. I don't know how many chances of snaps on the field with a second team or third team that he would get.
that's the big thing. And it's just, we have somebody like a Cobb now. Like, you got to wonder. I mean, like, even like Jigga here says, I think moving Corey is a mistake. Really think he could have a bounce back season with Rodgers at the helm. Everybody's talking
If
about Rodgers at the helm.
if
It's like,
they're if they're moving Davis, it's because they're trying to create more cap space just to have more money to add players. Like right now, after Al Woods, now it's let's bring. Even though it's been said previously after the draft, bring back Quan, get a linebacker. You know,
yeah.
unless you get Davis or Lawson to restructure their deals. Like either they restructure or one of them is out, and I think Davis would be the one out more than Lawson. Now
I
Lawson
think
does
so.
give us more money, but there's not many players out on the market that like. Are you really going to cut somebody to have 15 million right now with not not that type of player to really put the money into? Like right now, the players that are out there are good, solid players, but they're 1 year deals to camp body guys that are fighting to get on a roster in August.
Yeah, that's the whole thing too. Like, Robert Sala's not one to ever bury a player publicly, but he spoke very highly about both Corey Davis and Carl Lawson, saying that they're good leaders, they're good locker room guys, and like they really have the personality that he's looking for in a player. So it's gonna be really interesting, because he's really they're gonna have to explain that if they move on from him, even though it's very obvious, for cap reasons. I don't think they would just come out and admit that, but it's
No,
gonna be very interesting either way. But you got to wonder. I mean, it could be Carl Lawson, although I think they really do like him. I mean, we're stacked at the edge rusher position. Even going edge rusher in the first round, Will McDonald, obviously a smaller edge rusher, but still they felt that he was talented enough to take in the first round. So I wonder if that counts for
I
something.
got my thoughts on that. I got,
I do too.
he was announced as a linebacker.
Yes,
So
yes, he was. That's why I was like, huh.
like okay, so like is are you going to play him at both? Like is he going to get some snaps at a linebacker or is he strictly an edge rusher? And what type of edge rusher are you using him as? A stand-up edge rusher, like how the Cowboys would put Micah Parsons, even though he was a linebacker. Now he's converting to become a defensive lineman edge rusher. Like, are you going to use him like that? Stand him up on the edge, or is he going to have hand in the dirt type of edge type of rusher, like a Jermaine Johnson, a JFM, a Carl Lawson? What's up, Afram? I wasn't a
Hello,
fan of.
boys. Yeah, let's see. We'll know about Mims during training camp. Let's see if they give him more reps. Yeah, that's the big thing. It's gonna. I
Yes,
think that not to cut you off, Armin. From the big thing is, I think he's gonna have his chances, especially in preseason. And Hackett's really gonna see if he has what it takes. If he could work and develop a Denzel Mims. That's personally what I think it comes down to.
totally agree. Well, listen, if June and July pass and Corey Davis is still on this team, then it's Corey Davis versus Denzel Mims
Right.
because you got Miko Hardman now. Granted, he could play outside and the slot. Davis could play both, but he's better in the slot. But Randall Cobb is strictly a slot guy.
Yeah.
So now Mims could play outside, could play the slot. But like somebody's getting cut or traded, and it's Davis or Mims that's going to be
Yeah.
in the camp battle for wide receiver.
Oh, I agree 100%. So Dark Soldier says, "Yo, what's up, Dark Soldier? Hope you're doing well." So you want to go back to talking about Will McDonald for a second? I mean to cut you off there a minute ago.
So it was more about like, okay, he's announced as a linebacker. Now, like, is he strictly like is he going to get some snaps at linebacker position? Now that also comes into question of if they bring in one or two linebackers, whether it's Quan or somebody now. Unless they're just, I think they're going to use him like how they used Bryce Huff last year. And occasional snaps during the season, maybe as a third down rusher, maybe more on third and long.
Right. Yeah, something like that. So he definitely has that speed coming off of the edge. Do you think that they use him at linebacker at all? Because I mean, like the Jets and Robert Saleh, they really do seem to like those like kind of like versatile, play multiple position kind of guys. Do you see him at linebacker at all?
With his speed, yes. I think they're going to give him the chance to see if, with his speed, if he can cover running backs and even cover tight ends, just to be
Right.
next to them. Obviously, a big tight end could probably just get the ball away from McDonald, but if McDonald can cover them, at least it's somebody that just be in coverage. So maybe that happens, during camp and stuff. They'll. One thing I want to say about this coaching staff is you got to show us that you can develop players. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, no, yeah, 100%.
like how you said, Hackett needs to show and develop that he could develop Mims. Because if he doesn't, it's just like, okay, well, you know what, Hackett? As much as you need Aaron Rodgers, you need established receivers to get your offense going. If you can't develop Denzel Mims, like you need the Lazards, you need the Cobbs here. Garrett Wilson, whole nother level
Yeah.
according to Aaron. But also, this defense needs to show that they could develop somebody. And, Will McDonald seems like he's that developmental player. And right now, this coaching staff, especially with the quarterback position with Zach, has shown that they can't develop anybody.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, like, I think personally, like, that's just a lot of newness. Like at the time, like, brand new coaching staff, first time head coach, first time coordinator, rookie quarterback. Obviously, Greg Knapp was supposed to be that adult in the room. Obviously, tragically passed away. But they never really filled his position. They brought in Calabrese, who was a first time quarterback coach. So just way too much newness, I think, at once. Uh, Abby says, I think McDonald will split time with Quincy and play some of Quan's positions from last year. See, here's the thing. Like, like even Afram says they can use McDonald as a blitzing linebacker. He has such a quick first step. Yeah, he does. The thing that not concerns me, but the thing I question is they want him to get up to 250 pounds, which is probably going to slow him down a little bit. He's adding like 10 pounds of muscle, and you ideally want that done by the time like the regular season comes along. So he might be a little bit slower, which makes me wonder: are they actually going to push him back at linebacker? That's what I think.
and if he's going to gain that weight, like, shouldn't he? I hope he could play on the defensive line, like hand in the dirt type of edge rusher.
Right?
Because
Yeah.
because if he's gonna gain that much muscle, hopefully he gains that much strength, so he could get away from a left tackle, right tackle based on where you play him.
Yeah, definitely. Michael says we have an amazing defense, bar none, and then he says, "What's up, my Jets brethrens? Other than me, who else loves their draft?" Armin, what are your thoughts overall of the draft?
I think it's a mid-draft class, but there is upside in this class. I feel like if you were going to go for that type of player with McDonald, like a linebacker rusher type, Nolan Smith was there. I remember a
Yeah,
few weeks ago, on a show I was watching, and they compared Nolan Smith, like the way he can be used at the linebacker edge rusher type. He could, at the time, was like his play could be comparable if you use him right to Micah Parsons. Obviously, Micah Parsons is a X factor superstar player. We're not saying that he is, but that's like if you use him properly, like how the Cowboys use Micah Parsons, you might get that type of player out of Nolan Smith. So I my as soon as the Lions went down to 12 and the Cardinals traded back up to 6, I wish Joe Douglas would have taken notes from the Arizona Cardinals. If you love a player, trade up for him. If you loved Broderick Jones so much, the Detroit Lions were there at 12. They could have gotten Gibbs at 15. They could have gotten him at 18. Call them up after the Titans make their pick. Convince them, listen, we want to come up to 12 because we want to take this player. We'll give you, even if you said, I would have given up 15 and a 2024 third round pick to get Broderick Jones. If the Lions didn't want to do that, then see if they would be willing to come up to 15, like do the pick swap of 15 to 18. Even if you
yeah,
got a third round pick from them or a 2024 fourth or fifth, just to say, listen, we go back 3 spots. We gained a pick or maybe a few picks or even like a future pick just to go back 3 spots. Like, let's reconvene, what's happened.
yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing with Will McDonald. That was my first time hearing him. I did not see him in any mock drafts. I don't know if you did, but like I didn't know who
I,
Will
I
McDonald was.
I didn't either, and I'm like, Oh, McDonald had a farm, and I'm like,
That's the first thing I'm
I'm not,
thinking.
and I'm not mad at the kid. I don't think Jets fans are upset with him. It's upset with Joe Douglas. The last, like, Joe Douglas traded up for AVT because
Yeah,
he loved AVT. Well, if you loved the offensive lineman in his class, and if you loved Broderick Jones so much, to me it showed that they didn't love Broderick Jones. It showed to me like if he was there at 15, they would have taken him.
and of
I
course
get
the
we
New
didn't
England
have a lot of
Patriots
picks
screw
this
us
year.
again.
Wow.
You know. And I'm seeing that trending on like Twitter today that just Bill Belichick just did it strictly out of spite for the New York Jets, and that's the most Bill Belichick thing I've ever heard. It really is.
Well,
It's just
he didn't get. Listen, he took that pick that he got from them, pick 120, and traded
yep.
it to a team. So, like during the
Yeah,
draft. So, like, you listen. Belichick as the coach is greatest of all time. Him as the GM, he's the worst of all time.
yeah,
He
yeah. He
sucks
does
as a
things with his
GM.
emotion. Yep. Yeah, we didn't really need him. Yeah,
If he really
that's
wanted
kind of
to, if Bill really wanted to fuck us, instead of trading down like like he normally does in the draft, or take somebody that's rated in day 2 and takes him in day 1, Cole Strange, how you doing? You should have
yeah.
taken Broderick. Should have taken Broderick Jones yourself. You
That
really
that would have
wanted
really
to,
screwed us.
like if you really wanted to fuck with the Jets, just take the player yourself. Take Broderick Jones yourself.
That's true. I mean, don't give him any
What if
ideas.
what if the Steelers traded up and took Joey Porter with that pick? What if they didn't take Broderick Jones? Then
Yeah,
then 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 Bill doesn't real. Then he can't say he did it to fuck us.
yeah. No, yeah. At that point, he didn't. It's just I don't know. I feel like the Steelers and the Patriots both knew that that the Jets wanted Broderick Jones, and Bill Belichick goes, "There's no way in hell they're getting Broderick Jones." So he pretty much is like, "Hey, who else wants Broderick Jones?" And the Steelers goes, "Oh, we do because they screwed us. I never forgave them from the 2010 AFC Championship. Thank you very much." So they're going, "You know what? We don't like the Jets either. We'll take them ourselves."
I don't forgive
And
them for giving us Antonio Holmes because with the pick they got from us, they got Antonio Brown.
yeah,
And
yeah, you're right. They
I
did.
know that because my cousin is married to a Steelers fan, and he would bring that up to me like, you know how we got Antonio Brown, right? This Antonio Holmes trade. I'm like, son
Yeah,
of a
yeah. That's the Jets' fault too. That
bitch.
certainly is. So getting into the draft a little, which player in the draft do you think is going to have the biggest impact the quickest or right away?
It's gonna but based on their talent, the running back, because I think they could use him as another weapon for
Izzy.
special teams, and
Yeah.
also I think he's gonna get. I think he gets more snaps than Zonovan Knight.
Oh, okay.
I'll say in the preseason games because I think they want his speed on the roster.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Abby's saying Titman. That's my pick. I personally think Titman's going to have the biggest impact
Because
right
I
away.
don't like Titman is either going to be the starting center or just like with the news today about AVT says I don't care where I'm going to play. That's up to my own line coach.
Yeah,
I think they're going to see what happens with Dwayne Brown and all the tackles, but I think
yeah,
you got to make that very quick. If after the first preseason game, if the tackles are looking like crap, you got to make that change. AVT, we need you to practice at either tackle and then just have the other tackles, whether it's left or right, wherever you put AVT, then you just have the other tackles, Brown, Becton, Mitchell, Warner, and every other tackle you bring in to battle for the other side.
yeah. They brought in Billy a couple days ago, also from or formerly of the Green
Billy
Bay
Turner.
Packers. Billy
What
Turner.
I like
Yeah.
about Billy Turner is he could play guard and tackle. So that's a guy that, if you did move AVT and Turner did make the team, and let's say McGovern stinks, doesn't play well, you get rid of McGovern, but you love Tippmann and you want Tippmann to be the center, maybe Turner becomes a starting guard for you.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like Robert Saleh came straight out and said that Pittman and McGovern are going to be battling for the starting center spot. But I also heard that McGovern might be playing guard too. So I like this. I personally think that they just really stockpiled the offensive line, which this is what you have to do. You cannot have a situation like last year where you're signing guys like right off the street and just hoping that they could play. You got to do everything that you can to protect Aaron Rodgers. So I personally like it.
I just hope that Tippmann gets as many snaps in practice and in camp with Rodgers, because that will be telling to us whether or not Tippmann has a real shot with being the starting center. If you see him getting occasional snaps with Rodgers, I think they're leaning towards more McGovern. And unless they bring in Ben Jones,
I don't see that happening at this point, honestly.
me neither. I think they want to see what happens with McGovern and Tippmann and see what goes.
I would love Jones. I would love Jones. I just don't personally see it happening. But so they have that, and then I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I think the running back could have a big impact based on camp and based on how they use him. I think they're going to try to use him at special teams as a returner with Hardman. I think they want the speed there, and just for special teams alert.
Right.
Sometimes just take the chance. Stop fair catching it. That was.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree. Because Barrios was a good returner when he actually returned it.
Yes.
There was something going on with him this last year. I'm not sure what it was. But probably the funnest player in the draft, in your opinion, is it Kuntz or Kuntz?
Oh, it's Kuntz. It's Kuntz.
It's Kuntz 100%.
We're celebrating that tomorrow night on the show.
I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, I want a Kuntz jersey right away. And she's like, oh, stop. I was like, it's not Kuntz. There's no O in the guy's name. If you replace that K with a C, it's Kuntz.
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's just like former.
Yes, let's see what center clicks with Rodgers.
Yeah, but it's also based on if Tippmann's not getting the snaps and McGovern is, that's also telling. Like, it could be telling that Tippmann and Rodgers are not getting along. It's just rookie mistakes. Maybe Rodgers tells the coaching staff he prefers to have McGovern. My biggest pet peeve with McGovern is when he was on the field and Zach or whichever quarterback was on the field for us and they took a nasty hit or the teams did something to them post play, he didn't go try to protect them. I get we had shit play from our quarterbacks, but you still, whether you like your teammate, your coworker, sometimes it's good just to stick up for them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. He did seem like kind of lazy.
Because if McGovern doesn't do it for Rodgers, everybody's going to get on him. That's going to happen.
As
much as everybody else on the offensive line might go attack the player, if McGovern's on the field and he ain't doing nothing to protect the quarterback, like post play.
Oh yeah. He'll be booed out of MetLife. The biggest knock on Tippmann that I'm seeing is that he's too tall. But I mean, Kevin Mawai was pretty tall. Nick Mangold's tall. I don't think that's necessarily a big problem. I mean, if you could get down there and snap the ball, then what's the problem? Our brothers say, look at these two beautiful boys. I think they're talking about you. They're not talking about me. Italy Jet's not on, so they're not talking about him.
Well, they're not talking about us. I'm not beautiful either.
Yeah, they must be watching another show. I don't know who they're talking. Maybe it's a mirror. They're watching themselves, not us though. But so anyway, getting into a little bit other news, Al Wood signs, obviously a big time nose tackle. I think that this is really good. It's going to free up Quinnen Williams. He has chemistry with Jefferson. He's really good with stuffing the run, not really a pass rusher. What are your thoughts on Al Woods?
Love it. My preference was Puna Ford, but yesterday he went to Buffalo.
Yeah, but sucks he's in our division.
But you know what? We got 2 out of the 3 Seahawks defensive tackles on this team. Jefferson and Woods, they know each other. So that helps out a lot.
Mr. Hot Wife, that's right.
All right, that has to be Joe on the account right now. He's the only one that would call me that.
Yep.
But yeah, so love the Al Woods pick. Finally, we got another defensive tackle.
Yeah.
My preference would have been Cansey at 15 if they took him, who went to Tampa Bay. But no harm, no foul. You got another veteran in there.
Ephraim says, of course it's Joe. Yeah, it is Joe. It's got to be.
But
But
I
yeah,
don't
I
hate
mean,
it.
I was kind of surprised that they didn't go defensive tackle or defensive line at all in the draft. Really, that was a little shocking to me.
I
Maybe
think
maybe somehow they knew.
because they took McDonald, that's why they didn't touch the defensive line. Like maybe they would have taken a defensive lineman later on. Like maybe they take let's say they took let's say they took an offensive lineman or a wide receiver at 15.
Right.
Let's say where they took Candy. I call him Candyman, the running back. That's what I'm going to call
I like
him.
it.
Let's say they could have taken a defensive tackle there in the 4th round.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You
was really
know,
surprised that they didn't. I mean, going into this draft, I really wanted a lot of offensive and defensive linemen. I kind of felt like the positions were pretty much set. I had a feeling that like, with wide receiver, it was probably going to be like a Randall Cobb. Like, I'm not really surprised that he's here. I didn't see us taking
no.
a rookie wide receiver, but if it was somebody like a Najigba, I wouldn't have really knocked that. I would have been like, all right, cool. You could easily understand that. You could
My
understand
preference
that, at least
was
in my opinion.
my preference for receiver would have been Zay Flowers because of his
Yeah.
speed, because he could play outside and inside, and when he got drafted by Baltimore, they said like his speed is like close to Tyreek Hill. Like that just made me love him more. Like
Yeah.
you could have
Right.
used that on the roster. Like that would have been my preference for a receiver. I wouldn't have killed them for taking a receiver. I just wish
Neither
they
would
would have
I.
made. I wish they would have traded up with Detroit to 12, or
I agree. That's a really good point. A really
or
good point.
like convince Detroit to either trade up with you, even if you have to tell them who you're taking, because maybe that would have made them feel better to say, you know what, we go back 3 spots, we still get the guy we want, or even say, look, what if we went down to 18 and you just came up to 15? You get the player
Right.
that you really want,
So with that being said, do you think that there's any more moves that the Jets are going to make? I mean, you're hearing about Quan coming back. We obviously got Al Woods. That was like the other big one. Do you think that besides most likely Quan, do you think that they're going to be making any other moves?
I think they're going to look at every linebacker
Okay.
that's
Fair enough.
available free agency wise. I'd still have to look up who's that available, but maybe they wait till June comes and Quan is still out there and Quan is willing to take less money. I
Yeah.
think they're going to look at the safety position. The safety position right now on the free agent market ain't that great. Like Adrian Amos is probably the best name available on the market. So former Packer.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it, honestly. I mean,
But
it'd be.
that's the
We
one
are
thing
the
that
New York
didn't
Packers.
yeah, that's one thing that didn't shock me in this draft is that they didn't select the safety. As we know, Joe Douglas doesn't really value the safety position that
Yeah.
highly. I mean, he did get burned in the third round pick of Ashton Davis years ago.
Yeah. We got to keep in mind that this draft wasn't close to last year. Most of these guys we got off will start off with either minimal reps or just backups for now. We are focused on winning now. Afram, I agree with that 100%. I don't see a lot of these guys starting. I think that this is just depth guys that could possibly start 2-3 years down the line, or if God forbid there's an injury. That's what I think this draft was mainly about.
Right now, Titman is the only one that has the chance to start on this roster. I think
Yeah.
if Candy's probably, if he makes the team, we're going to rotate the backs because remember, Brees Hall's coming off that knee injury. I think they're trying to save Brees till the end of October, maybe November. So you're going to see a lot of Michael Carter, a lot of Zonovan Knight, a lot of Candy, and you
Yeah, I
might see a
agree.
lot of that.
I agree 100%. I definitely think it's going to be like you said, like a lot of Bam Knight and stuff like that. I think Brees is still going to have some touches, but they
They're going to
say coming off of like
slow
an AC,
burn.
yeah, they say like with ACL injuries, like it takes over a year for the player to get back to 100%. We saw that with Carl Lawson, so he's expected to have a
And
bigger role this year than he did last year.
and look at the running back position when they get it. Look at Saquon. It took him. I mean, granted, he had back-to-back years of injuries, but basically it takes 2 years from a lot of other. I mean, Adrian Peterson had that similar injury, and it said it took him 2 years to get away from the first one. So my thing is, I don't expect the electricity that Brees had prior to his injury last year to have
Yeah.
this year. So you gotta be very careful of how you use him. You know,
Yeah, this is with him. It's more of a we need him healthy long term. You want to see him turning on the Jets in December and January. I'm not necessarily
yes,
super worried about him in September.
totally agree.
And if anything, I think it's not a good thing, but a good opportunity for Bam Knight to really emerge as that running back number two. I think it's gonna be really interesting, like you said, to see is he getting his reps. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name because I can't do it. I'm sure in a couple, like once the season starts and they hear it a couple times, they'll be able to. But Michael Carter, do you think he's making the team?
I think for the start of the season, based on yes, because I do think he was hurt last year, and I don't think they want Brees Hall on the start of the season on the roster. I think they want to maybe keep him on the PUP list to be out 6 weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that could be. I
think
mean,
unless they bring in some other camp body running backs that are rookies or vets, like Kareem Hunt is still out there, but that's telling to me.
yeah,
That
him, Leonard
no,
Fournette.
uh, you know, the Buffalo Bills signed Latavius Murray for their
Hmm.
running. It's surprising to me that they didn't try to bring in Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, or even Zeke.
Yeah,
To me,
especially Zeke
this
wanted to come here.
to me those that team who's an all-in team just like us now, with a very good quarterback in Josh Allen, that they didn't try to go for one of those three running backs to bring into there to go with James Cook. Now, maybe they're waiting to see what the Vikings do with Dalvin Cook, to bring to if Dalvin Cook gets cut, obviously June
Yeah,
1st casualty. I mean, if you're the Jets and Dalvin Cook gets cut, you gotta at least make a strong offer to bring
yeah, you
him
got to
in.
definitely flirt with it. Yeah, I agree, 100%.
If you don't get him, so what? You have solid backs here in the roster to protect Brees and to protect Brees and his name. But if you got Dalvin Cook, holy crap! That if the Jets landed Dalvin Cook, I would say Michael Carter is on the bubble because I think Zonovan Knight and Candy would make the practice squad. I don't know if teams, unless they really performed at camp and at camp practices with other teams and in the camp and the games, that teams really looked at it and really liked those players.
Yeah, see, there's a part of me that doesn't think that Donovan Knight gets put on the practice squad. I think he's gonna have a starting role. Personally, they seem to really like him. He had a pretty big role last year once Brees got hurt. Abby Fresh is saying Michael Carter will definitely have a bounce back year. Do you see that happening too? Because he did look off. I think he was injured last year or something. He didn't look like the same player he did his rookie year.
Yeah,
What
I
do you think
do
about
think he's
that?
gonna have a bounce back year. It, but it's all based like how well is Hackett gonna use him properly? How's Hackett gonna use him? Because I mean, it's the same type of scheme, but it's different wording, different formula. Like how is Hackett? Remember, this is a different running game than Hackett had in Green Bay. He had Aaron Jones,
Yeah,
and I think he was there with also AJ Dillon. Like
I think
you
so.
don't
Yeah,
have those two type of stud running backs. You have a stud back in Brees Hall, but now you just have solid pieces. And
yeah,
we didn't see a good running game from Hackett and the Broncos last year. Granted, Javante Williams got hurt, and Melvin Ingram was past his prime. And then that went sour. But I think he can have a bounce back season. But it's also how are you using the backs? What's the rotation going to be like?
I think Michael Carter's also a a running back that could just catch a lot out of the backfield too. He might act like almost like another receiver, and that's actually what I wanted to do years ago when we had Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore. I said, use Le'Veon Bell as more of like the catching out of the backfield guy, and have Frank Gore running right up the middle. That might be something that like Michael Carter's role might be.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, all the backs for us can catch the ball out of the backfield.
This is big too. What Afram saying, I think his issues were with Lafleur.
100%.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people put stock into more Zach, but I think it was more LaFleur. I think he had vendettas out for Elijah Moore. I think he for Michael Carter, for Mims.
Mims. Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Every
I don't know
coach has
what
their
the
favorite.
the tight end position he didn't use properly. Now, granted, two of them, one stone hands.
Yeah.
That here's another question: how many tight ends are we carrying?
So I think we have 5 now, right? We have
Azuma,
Kuntz.
Conklin, Ruckert, Kuntz, and they brought in somebody that's like a fifth, but
I think they have Yeboah still too on the practice squad. No.
yes, I think they do still have your bubble, so that's five.
Yeah.
So how many are you gonna carry on? Like, how many are you gonna carry on the team? Especially, didn't they bring back fullback Nick Borden?
I
So
think so.
like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now you have a fullback there plus five tight ends. Like, how many are you gonna carry? Because like, you could
I
have
could almost
essentially
see
used one of
Yeboah
the
getting cut.
because you could essentially have one of the tight ends play H back.
Yeah. I
Tight
heard
end.
that. I heard Ruckert might do that. What do you think?
I haven't seen a lot of Rucker, but Rucker does need get a lot of more snaps in game
Yeah.
preseason wise, and not just be a healthy scratch.
Right. Right. I think a lot of that had to do with him being injured a lot last year too, missing almost all of preseason. So they, in training camp, so they might just like wanted to keep him. I think he's gonna have a bigger role. In my personal opinion, I think it's gonna be Conklin, Uzama, and Ruckert, and then you might just have Kuntz as a healthy scratch. I don't see them carrying Kenny Yeboah. I mean, he's been on the team what 2 3 years now, and he hasn't done anything. What's the point in keeping him there? So I could see him going, and then maybe throw Kuntz on the practice squad. We can't get it, and then oh yeah, also one football. Yeah, he's right. So I would at least like to see Ruckert, maybe Ruckert and Kuntz back, go back and forth. But eventually, I'm really excited to see what Ruckert can do. I mean, he played at Ohio State, big college. I played against him here on Long Island. I played against him in high school. The guy's a stud. The guy can definitely play. So I'm excited to see how he translates to the NFL. I think he only really played a handful of games last year. I don't remember really seeing his name called at
He
all.
played more in the second half, like when
Yeah,
they were, back end of the games when we were losing.
yeah, getting blown
But
out.
yeah,
What do you think? Who do you think is the? Do you think Yeboah goes, or do you think they keep him? What are you thinking?
I think Kenny is gone. I do think they might try to keep him on the practice squad because it's tough because Borden is now in the mix too because if the tight ends are performing well, you might like to keep four tight ends, even like you said, a healthy scratch. But like you said, Ruckert might play H back, so like you could make the case like, oh, Ruckert's a fullback, and now you have Kuntz, Conklin, and Uzuma active for games where it's technically three tight ends and an H back, and maybe it's
Yeah.
Brees isn't active, but you have Carter, Knight, and Candy as the three running backs.
Well, do you think that Kuntz can play halfback at all? Because I'm hearing that he's a pretty big boy.
He's
I
six
don't know if
eight.
he's ever done it. Yeah,
He's
yeah. I mean,
that
he
that
might
would
be
be
a better
more
option.
that'll be more speed in the backfield. But I think
Yeah,
they would
that
probably
might not
put
be a
him
bad
out.
option.
I think they might put him more into the slot as a slot
Yeah, that
receiver
could be too.
because of his speed. Because you could
I
always,
think we're gonna.
if you wanted to go three tight end set, what you can do is have like Uzama and Conklin on the line and Kuntz in on the slot as a receiver.
Yeah,
Because
you could do that too.
I saw a video of him on the track and field leaping over the.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was a fast
Well,
boy.
yeah. After I'm saying you could. Yeah, that's true. You could easily cut Yeboah. You
You
could do
go right
that.
now. You got to say he's just a camp body, and if he
Yeah,
does, if he performs well, somebody else is off the 53-man roster or the practice squad.
yeah. But I'm also interested to see if CJ Uzama has a bigger role because he was kind of underwhelming last year too, especially for his contract. I think a lot of that just had to do with the poor
LaFleur.
offensive line play. To be a complete, you just want like an extra blocker, and he knew how to block, so I think like that's what that
Yeah,
was.
getting
But
that
now that we have
double
a better
offensive.
offensive line, you got to wonder if he's going to get more catches rather than stone hands, like you had said earlier with Conklin.
Yeah, that's true too. I could see Uzama getting. Who do you think gets used more in the red zone, Uzama or Conklin? For
Uh,
passing downs, because obviously
I'm gonna say
you might
Conklin to
see.
be honest with you.
Yeah, because I think if you're there, you might try to run the ball more, so Uzama might get on the field more because he's a better blocker. Just to
Right,
have
right, yeah.
another lineman.
I could see that. I would be okay with that, honestly. I mean, you're paying them all this money. You want to see them do something. They got to earn their contract.
I know we have a kicker, but there are two kickers out there still that are probably Robbie Gold and Mason Crosby. Do you think the Jets consider bringing in a kicker for a battle just to have in camp? Because
If they
Robbie
do, I think
Gold,
it's probably gonna be Crosby. Why
because
wouldn't it be Crosby? You know?
yeah, the New York Packers come get
Yeah.
them.
Why not
My
Crosby?
preference would be Robbie Gold just because of how well he kicked for San Francisco and all the time in
Yeah.
Chicago. You know,
Yeah. I mean, I think Zerline's spot is secured. I think they really like Zerline, but if they do, I definitely 100 think it's gonna be Crosby. And I think they only bring him in because of that Packers connection. And then there's no reason to carry two kickers, but
no, that's
I
what I
think
said.
you
Just
bring
for
him
a
in.
friendly competition, see if because if those two get signed and Zerline in camp is crapping the bed, we're gonna be complaining. Now we can't trust the kicker.
Yeah, we've been there too, where Salah's going for 2-point conversions because he doesn't trust kickers. It's just like the problem's never gotten solved. I like Greg the but see, Italy Jet personally knows him, just because he's worked for the Rams before, and he can't stand Zerline. But the problem with me is like he'll kick like a 60-yarder like no problem, but then he'll miss like a point after. It's like very just I don't know. It's just strange with him, honestly. I don't think I don't think they bring another kicker in. I don't think they do either, Afram, to be completely honest with you. But I think if they were to, it would definitely be Crosby.
Me too. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it's just something fun to think about. Like there's other veteran kickers, and just to bring them in, just to have a competition.
Yeah, no, I agree. I could see. I don't think that they're going to, but like I wouldn't be surprised if they just bought in Crosby because of the whole Packers connection. But so in some other news here, the Jets didn't pick up Becton's 5th-year option. I know on your channel he's been a very hot topic, and on social
That's
media.
with Joe. That's with Joe, not with me. I don't care about Becton's tweeting. It doesn't bother me. I don't try to get posting, whether like how Becton does it or like I don't try that to affect me. So I have
Yeah,
no
no, I'm
problem.
with you.
I have no problems with Mackay.
Okay,
It doesn't
fair enough.
surprise me that they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. But the thing that surprised me the most, Tuesday was the deadline. I think 4 p.m. was the deadline. It surprised me that it took them till 3:30 in the afternoon to decline his option. They just didn't say no or not. Like they took their time. You saw some guys their options get declined on Monday. Clyde Edwards-Helaire from the Chiefs. So now he's
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons, linebacker from the Cardinals.
Yep.
Like I think they were having a real debate whether to pick it up or not. And as we all know, Jordan Love just got a 1-year extension with the Packers, so now he's on the team for the next 2 years. Because the Packers saw what happened with the Giants with Daniel Jones declining the 5th-year option, and if he balled out, now you're paying
Bit him in
him.
the ass. Yeah.
You know, I still think like I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but like for how long it took, maybe the Jets do that. Maybe just because like look at the offensive tackle position for us going into after this season. We don't know about Mitchell's health with the blood clots. Dwayne Brown's going to be gone through either retirement or he's a free agent. Becton's going to be gone. AVT is like you're not going to have like, and if Mitchell gets hurt again, like you're really like next year now is offensive line is the biggest priority and biggest need.
Well, I think also next year they have to pick up AVT's fifth-year option, right? He'll be in year 4.
No, it's after year 3. So after this season,
So he's going into going into next season.
So yes, but AVT's option is going to get picked up, obviously.
Oh yeah, 100% it is. But yeah, the offensive line could be changing a lot next year.
If Becton stays healthy and has a Pro Bowl season or just a very good season, he's going to get paid next year from a team. And I know Joe's biggest thing is, and a couple of Jets fans is about Quinnen, about he had his big season. It's one big season. Don't pay him now. Let's see him do it for another year. Now the question's going to be, well, Becton had a big year. Becton really played out his rookie contract. Are we going to pay him after one season? So my thing is, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they do it. Maybe they say, hey, Makai, we'd like to have you back next year. Can we do like a 1-year extension at like the Jordan Love thing? Like this much money and this is what's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Just to have him for the next 2 years. Because or else you don't know if you have your first round pick next year based on Aaron Rodgers' health and snaps that he gets.
They better not have that first round pick next year. I mean, like to me, they Aaron Rodgers better be playing 65% of the snaps. I mean, like
yes,
so
absolutely.
Otherwise, that's a failure if he doesn't.
Absolutely, it's a failure. It's a failure because we didn't get to see him play as a Jet, and it's just a total Jets curse on all of us. Like the only difference is that we got to see Favre for a full season, even though he was hurt, and we didn't see Rodgers for a full season, even hurt.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a chance that the Jets franchise tag Becton at the end of the year?
No, because it's based on what they do. It's Quinnen too. They might have to franchise Quinnen.
I think that would piss Quinnen off, to be honest.
But they're stuck there to catch 22. You're either paying him now, or you're paying him after next year. And if he doesn't, if he has another big season this season, you're paying him closer to $30 million than you are now at 24 and a half, $25 million. So if you tag him, he might become a tag and trade candidate. But that's also telling because Quinnen wasn't a JD pick.
Right.
But still, Afram has always said this. If we're not paying our guys like a Quinnen who was drafted by the Jets, that's telling to Sauce, that's telling to Garrett, like our guys are never going to get paid.
That's the whole thing. I mean, yeah, Quinnen, obviously, he's not a Joe Douglas pick, but he is a homegrown talent.
Yeah.
So that is a very big thing too. That's something I'm kind of a little concerned about. I
think they should pay him now. I get it. We have the bad history of Muhammad Wilkerson getting paid. If you look at his stat history and compared to Quinnen's, but I look at Quinnen's is he's been progressing. His rookie season was 2.5 sacks. Then he had 7. Then he had 6. And then he had this big year. So he has progressed to where you have seen progression into the player that he still can become and get better. So he has more of as much as he had one big season stat-wise, was it 12.5 sacks?
Yeah. Yep. And he missed a game. Yeah. Or 2 games. I think it was a game. Yeah, a game and a half, I think.
Because he missed the Lion game.
Right.
Because if he was there, he gets through that line. Some of those completions that Goff had, they're not happening.
Yeah, we're probably talking about 15 sacks for the season. If he plays that game, that could have been a 2-3 sack game. Because you got to think too, like the other thing with Quinnen, you think back to that Lions game, when Quinnen wasn't there, the defense almost like couldn't perform. Like the Detroit Lions were just moving the ball at ease. Like whether they were running the ball or passing it, they did whatever the hell they wanted to that Jets defense. So
and
I
that,
think
and th-
running back
and
winning is huge.
and that's credit not just to the players on the Lions because they've got a very talented roster, but credit to their offensive coordinator Ben Johnson for
Yeah.
for the game plan he made going into the game and making those adjustments, not just at halftime, but at each quarter, each opportunity he could when the Lions defense was on the field.
Yeah. And
You
that's
know,
the thing. It's like the Jets were definitely a top 5 defense last year, but they were definitely beatable too. So I
yeah.
think you have to bring back Quinnen. I think you have to pay him. Becton, I don't want to see him go, especially if he does have a big season. But it's going to be interesting to see
He yeah.
how that plays out.
And he's more the 1 year wonder of giving a big contract if he's successful. Now, I could see Joe Douglas doing that because that was a Joe Douglas pick, and that was his first pick for the first round.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see him definitely, like wanting to be right about Becton and, even Sawa. Like they seem to like him. They made a ton of excuses for him, and he clearly wasn't uh in shape at all last year. I think he, having the like his kid, I think that definitely matured him a lot, and you can see how serious he is taking his training this year. I think
Yes.
you got to come back like a man on a mission if you're him. You just got to put your nose down. I personally like it's better. See, like the whole thing, people are getting upset with him on Twitter. You got to think last year, every day who's posting about like video games and stuff like that. Like the thing is, like you can't see him on the field in April. You just gotta hope that like he's doing the right thing that he can right now. He's doing the most he can. I think he's showing up. Even I think he's gonna be at like OTAs. I think he's gonna be for everything. He's he's doing everything he can, but I think he knows he's
He's
on
a
his last leg.
guy. He's a guy that couldn't win with a lot of Jets fans because if you're not seeing him on social media or at certain events, it's well, is he eating White Castle? Is he eating fast food? Like they're going to the fat route, you know.
Right, right.
But like he can't win, but he could win if he performs well and stays healthy. You know, I
Yeah,
wonder if people would have a problem with his posting if he was posting pictures with his teammates. Like if he was posting pictures with him and Sauce at the gym, him and Garrett, or him and Aaron, or anybody on the team. You know, another good thing is like AVT has stayed off the limelight. Especially he had the torn pec last year. Nobody's questioning AVT. Like, where's AVT? What's he doing? We haven't seen him post a lot of stuff, but we're hoping he comes back healthy from that torn pec.
well, that's the other thing. He said that he should be good to go for camp. He's doing individual drills now, so I think he'll be ready for team drills for camp.
Where do you prefer to play AVT?
I'd put him at right tackle, right guard or tackle. Well, definitely on the right side. But
I
do you
would.
also do you trust Becton to play on the left side? That's the whole other thing.
That's why I would put.
You'd put AVT on the left side?
I'd put AVT on the left side because I can't trust Dwayne Brown to be healthy. I hope he is, and he's in the last year of his deal. I'd rather have Dwayne Brown be the backup to AVT.
Yeah.
I actually thought about this prior to at the start of the offseason. Becton reminded me of a former Giants first round pick that had a better career after he left the Giants and he converted from offensive tackle to guard, Eric Flowers. He was abysmal with the Giants as a tackle, left tackle, right tackle. He went to
Yeah.
Washington. They moved him to guard, and he had a solid career. I think he's still in the league. And I thought maybe Becton could do the same. Move him to guard. Maybe that keeps him more healthy. Maybe he becomes a more productive player. Whether that's right guard, obviously right guard because you got Tomlinson at left guard.
Yeah. So today on May 3rd, what is your prediction for the starting Jets offensive line for week
Dwayne
1?
Brown, Laken Tomlinson, Titman, AVT, Becton.
Okay.
From
I
left
think
to
that's
right.
pretty real. Yeah, I think that's pretty realistic.
I want Mekhi Becton to be my starting right tackle.
I do too. I mean, definitely got to see what he is.
Yes.
And then I think it's his job. It's weird because like it's his job to win. Because I don't. He's gonna have to earn it, but at the same time, I also think it's his job to lose.
Yeah, because I don't know about Max Mitchell's blood clots, and we got this kid Warren. They're gonna make him a swing tackle, so he's Dan. Now that's Dan. Now that is
Yeah,
Dan. I am gonna be. There's my best friend Afro.
What's up, Afro? Making your debut on the Everything NYJ podcast.
Well,
What's up, man?
I remember from the card show that
Yeah, yep.
I said I'd come on, so I kept my word.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Don't listen to what Joe says. Joe's a maniac.
Yeah, he is.
Afro, I'm going to be unbearable with Dan tomorrow when it comes to the Rangers Devils Game 7.
I'm a Ranger fan too, but it is what it is. They
yeah.
lost.
Okay, so I have one good Ranger fan in my life, and it's Afro.
I appreciate that.
I'm a Ranger fan too.
Okay, so now I got two. I have two.
It is what it is. Listen, like Galan says, it's not all about talent. They were outplayed.
Man, that's true. They looked like they weren't even like on the same level. Like they just
I don't know.
compete with
I don't know what it was.
He was also outcoached. I mean, credit to Lindy Ruff.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't even think it was a coaching thing. I think it was more.
You think it was more the players?
I thought
the
Patrick
Devils just
Kane
looked
was
way
hurt
faster.
since they got him.
Yeah.
I don't think he was 100%.
Yep.
That was a waste, but whatever. It happens. Look at what happened in Boston.
Tarasenko. I think we got Tarasenko a year too late too.
Yeah. Look what happened to Boston. Boston, I think, wore
themselves
out.
Another fraud team. Fraud number one. Listen, I got my wish. Rangers, Islanders, Bruins out in round 1. Now let's go Hurricanes. Take the Devils out in round 2, and I'll be happy.
You know what I looked at it as? It's just like
you're a Pittsburgh fan. You guys.
Hey, that's because we had a stupid imbecile known as Ron Hextall as our GM in that front office. He burnt that roster to a crisp. And I can't complain about missing the playoffs because I had to pass 16 years of playoffs, 4 Stanley Cup appearances, 3 Stanley Cup victories. That's the only team that I cheer for that has given me paradise. So, we were the oldest team this year because of Hextall by age in the NHL, the number 1 oldest team. And I was screaming to start the rebuild last year. I wanted them to start the rebuild. Trade away Gensel, Crosby, Malkin. We had new ownership. We got the Fenway group to, buy the team last year. I wanted them to just, the chapter was over. This era has been one of the best eras in my life with Pittsburgh. I wanted them to just start anew. New chapter, new ownership. Let's start a fresh start. You
also got to hit on your picks.
And
those are rare. Those, you don't get a Mario Lemieux. You don't get a Yager. You got to.
Or a Crosby or a Malkin or a Stahl or a Gensel. Yeah. They're very hard to come by.
Yeah.
You know what I said though, Afram? I said hopefully that Rangers lost in Jersey. That was the last time this year a New York team is upset in New Jersey. So now it's all football. Now the Jets are going to do great things in Jersey. We're hoping. What are your thoughts on all this going on? The whole Cobb and Al Wood signing. What are your thoughts on all this?
I don't care. If they bring him in and he does something, I couldn't care less if they bring the whole team over. I really don't.
I agree.
Hey, look at the '94 Rangers. They were the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah.
No one cared about that when they won and they hoisted that cup. You bring in players that are available, you put them in, regardless. It is what it is. If they're bringing guys that they know that can be helpful to the team, it's not like he's flooding it. He's flooding the whole team with players. It was just Lazard and now Turner, and there's 3 guys, and plus the quarterback. Okay,
right,
big deal.
And it's not that Joe Douglas is. I'm sorry. It's not that Aaron Rodgers is running the team or calling the shots. Because if that was the case, OBJ would be a Jet, and Joe Douglas would have paid $20 million for him.
Yeah. Well, I know in bitch and moan when they brought all these free agents to Tampa and filled that team up with these guys. They
same thing with
praised
Denver.
that. That was praised. But when we do it, it's oh look, this guy's doing this and this.
And Gronk, like as much as like when they brought in Gronk, he like that gave them 3 solid tight ends because they had Brait and OJ Howard, former first-round pick on the team. Like that was just an extra guy to have there.
They brought in Sue. He played well. They brought a bunch of guys. You have the opportunity. If you get them, they want to come and play. Just like guys want to come play with Rodgers. We'll see. But it's like our team has been. We started with no team.
Right.
We brought in rookies to start because we had nothing to back up. Then we got good players. We started getting better. Now we're just flooded with depth. So
this comment,
if they get Quan, everyone's gonna be even more happy. And then maybe a free safety. I don't know who's available. I haven't heard any names, but
I'll have the list for tomorrow's show.
Sure you'll have the list for tomorrow.
I always have the list.
Yeah, and so if you get a good like that, then you really rounded out your team.
I saw it a few days. I don't know if I screenshotted it though. I thought I did, but I'm not seeing it here. Maybe I didn't. There was like a list of like available players. Yeah, I don't have it. That's a shame. I did at one point. I guess I deleted it. But yeah, there wasn't like any names that really just like popped off the page at us. So
I think one thing we also have to do is Joe Douglas loves to keep money to bring into the season.
Yeah.
So maybe they get a cheap veteran to come in for the safety position, and maybe by the trade deadline, maybe the team that's out of it that has a safety, maybe the Arizona Cardinals, want to trade through to Baker.
There's a lot of ways to make the money. There's just like they did with JFM. They paid out his They converted some of his salary into bonus. It comes off the books. He's happy. He gets most of his money, and they reduce the cap. Listen, when they're bringing these players in left and right, and they're signing them, you gotta say to yourself, they know what they're doing when it comes to the money. They're not just bringing in players and then say, "Oh, where we're gonna get this money." They know what they're doing. I don't even think about that anymore.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, like they definitely do have like a strict plan.
They have the capologist. For once, we have a guy that knows talent and knows the cap and know how to use it.
Yeah, that's it. Listen, all we have to do is win.
I saw Vinny had a question. Oh, here it is. I felt bad not answering. I'm sorry, Vinny. Question for both of you. What will land Joe Douglas and Salah extensions? I think the Jets must clinch a playoff berth and win a playoff game. Do you think that's enough to get them extensions?
I have no concern about JD getting an extension, even if anything happens, because Rodgers is Johnson's pick. He forced that whole thing.
Yep.
And so
Woody's the one that made it Rodgers or bust.
JD's bringing everybody in. This is all on Salah now and the coaching staff. It's not on JD. JD brings in the staff, and that's it. Just like just like any GM. I brought the players in. I can't make them play, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about JD.
I agree with Afram. I think right now it's going to be more on Salah. And here's the thing. Salah gets fired. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Hackett as the head coach to convince Aaron Rodgers to stay for one more season. That's what's going to happen. So, don't think they're going to go after to bring in a whole new head coach. I think if that happens, it's because they know Rodgers is retiring.
Yeah, but we also got to get out of this mindset that something bad's going to happen to us.
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's enjoy this right now.
Let's enjoy. Maybe good things ahead of time coming up for us. You never know. We started off last year unbelievable. We didn't anticipate the start we had last year, right? We just didn't anticipate the quarterback play, and even with that.
So to answer Vinny's question right there, pick one. There's only one legitimate answer, Jordy Nelson, because Donald Driver and Greg Jennings don't like Aaron Rodgers.
There you go.
I
didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Oh yeah, you could find out. They say a few times if you look them up get some clips about them, they say some things about Aaron. That's like,
Oh yeah. Huh.
He's still
I
playing.
didn't know
They're
that.
not.
yeah,
That's the whole thing too. But you see, like, I feel like we were lied to. Like, we were told that we were getting like some like asshole player, and he's not going to show up to camp, and he doesn't care about his teammates. He's not doing any of that. He's there. I mean, he even said on Pat McAfee that he's going to be there for more than half of the workouts and everything. He does have some obligations on the West Coast he has to handle, but you're seeing him out. He's at the Garden every night, hanging out with different players. He's doing and saying all the right things.
Liam, these you got to make stories. That's their job,
Yeah.
is to make stories. Okay, it's negative sells, positive doesn't. Negatives always sell. Unfortunately, when you're positive, then that's the only option you have. Then you write a good article. But negative always sells. People love negativity. It's the
That's
bottom
true.
line.
That's true. And I like this comment here. This is the year that we're going to see what the coaching staff is made of, and that's true. Can he hang with the Andy Reeds and the Zach Taylors of the world? That's going to be like
Right.
the biggest
Right.
sign, the biggest telling sign.
Let's step back a little bit, because Zach Taylor was on the verge of getting canned until Burrows was drafted. So let's not turn out to make him.
Zach. Yeah, I know Zach Taylor was on the verge of getting fired after Burrow's rookie season, even though Burrow got hurt.
Yeah. So,
Like I don't know if Zach Taylor, if they don't make the Super Bowl in year 2 of Burrow, in second year of Burrow, if they don't make the Super Bowl, I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, but that's going to be hard, because there's now with there's so much competition in the AFC. It wouldn't be, who are you going to bring in that's going to change it around? You know what I'm saying? It's the same players. It's a hard. You just gotta put enough talent on there to overcome. And each one of these teams is an injury away from being,
Screwed.
doing nothing.
And all these, like the Bengals, the Bills, they still have flaws on their team.
Yeah.
They still have holes, just like the Jets still have holes. Obviously, Mahomes, Burrow, they kind of
They mask it.
they mask it. The Chiefs have one of the youngest defenses in the NFL. Just look at the defense. A lot of those guys are young, but they have a lot of experience because they went to the playoffs and they have a good coaching staff. Cincinnati had a problem stopping the run last year, with their defensive line, with their defense. They have good players on defense, but there's no one on that team that scares the crap out of you. Like, there's no Quinnen on that team.
Right.
They have solid, good players in Cincinnati on the defense. Like, the only people that scare you is Chase, Higgins, Burrow, the triplets. Like, that triplet scares you. They might be losing Joe Mixon because of cap casualty, the incident that happened that he's now still under investigation for. They might be getting rid of Tyler Boyd, who's the number 3 receiver there, but that's because of a cap casualty. Like, they lost Hayden Hurst. They're changing tight ends. They changed the offensive line. Jonah Williams is a trade candidate for them.
Yeah. But see, the thing with that is, like, they might be taking a step down, but then I don't know who the team's going to be, but a team is definitely going to take a step up. It could be us. Let's hope it's us.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. Chargers could make a step up. There's we don't even know what Miami's going to do at this point. They got a lot of talent.
Miami's they're looking powerful. They're definitely looking powerful.
They just gotta stay healthy.
That's
they
it.
Gotta,
we all
they
have
gotta
to stay healthy.
We all, yeah.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. It's going to be.
And we all know this. The first injury that Tua gets, based on what the injury is, we're all going to question whether or not his career's at jeopardy.
Yeah.
And they picked up his 5th-year option, so he's under contract for the next 2 years.
That's when Brady comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Afram, I guess we'll start with you. So currently the Jets quarterback room: Aaron Rodgers, Zach Wilson,
Papa Boyle.
Yeah, Boyle, and then Strevler. Do you see them bringing in a veteran quarterback, somebody like a Teddy Bridgewater?
I don't know. I don't know what they want to do. They haven't brought it last year. I don't know if they. This is a tough call because I don't know if bringing a veteran behind Rodgers is telling to you make a third string in Wilson.
I guess
Does
Zach,
that
yeah.
affect him mentally? You know, I don't know what they do. Who's available? If anything, it'll be after June for sure. You know, it's not going to be right away.
I think if they do, it's going to be in September. Well, not September, in August during preseason and camps, because they want to see what Boyle does. If he stinks, if Zach still stinks, it has to be based on what Zach and Boyle do in the games and in camp.
Yeah.
Because if they are shitting the bed and underperforming, they might have to. But you're going to have to pay that quarterback. Because why would the quarterback want to come here to be just a backup? Like, you're going to have to pay them $5-6 million. No, Matt Ryan, I don't need a statue. Jesus Christ.
We just had that with Flacco.
He's going to bring that up again tomorrow. You know that.
Don't need a statue.
Yeah.
No.
We're giving him all
statue.
the material for tomorrow.
We
got the safety linebacker. we got the quarterback. I can tell the whole show for tomorrow.
I wouldn't mind Bridgewater, but maybe you bring in Wentz, a guy that's still movable in the pocket and mobile enough. You know, granted, he's an injury-prone quarterback, but you know what? Better than a statue. At least, you know, you're bringing in somebody mobile enough to be – because right now the quarterbacks are not great on the market right now. There's a reason why nobody's signing them. I mean, Kyle Allen just got a deal. Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
It's telling when Kyle Allen and not Teddy Bridgewater is on a team.
A lot of these guys hold out to see if they can get a better opportunity. They can afford to sit back to see if one of these guys gets hurt, and they get and they call them
They'll
in.
Get the opportunity to start. They want the opportunity to start.
Yeah.
If they have the opportunity to start, they take less money.
Yeah.
If they're coming in to be a backup, they want to get paid. I could see Bridgewater, Wentz, and even Statue of Liberty Matt Ryan. You want to come to the Jets? We want $6 million to be the backup. You know, if it was the time to start, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Tyrod Taylor is still on the Giants. He's not a free agent. He's still backing up Daniel Jones.
The $42 million kid.
Yeah, for one season. That's insane. But me personally, I would get rid of Boyle. I understand why they bought him in. You know, just like he knows to hack it, Aaron Rodgers' system. I would get rid of Streveler. I didn't really see anything special in him.
Streveler ended up in the what you call it.
Streveler's just a Taysom Hill. He's a guy that
he'll end up in the practice squad anyway. They're not going to hold 4 quarterbacks.
Isn't he?
He passed away. Jesus Christ, Joe.
In a tragic accident.
He's just throwing names out there.
Yeah, Davis Webb. Yeah.
Bart Starr will be next.
Why don't we bring back Joe Namath? What the hell?
Yeah, why not? Bring him in for a year. Does anybody epitomize New York? Somebody like bring him in. Bring him in. I like it.
You know what? We probably could get Eli to come out of retirement.
He's making more money now, I think.
Maybe Peyton will finally come to the Jets. Just bring them all in. Just have a stack.
Let's get Archie. Let's get Archie to be the backup.
Let's see what Archie does.
I like it.
It's gonna be. Hey, listen, I'm feeling good about the team. I really am. I think they got a year under their belt now. All these rookies. Everyone is getting another year on the belt. They're seeing their mistakes. They correct their mistakes. You know, now you have a veteran behind them. Now the game is gonna, they're gonna up their game because they got a veteran quarterback that's proven. So, I think it's gonna be good. And the way they're moving around, getting guy after guy after guy. Let's see how he builds this team up.
Bring in Messi.
Yeah. He can't leave anything alone, can he?
No. Do you think that Corey Davis or something like a Denzel Mims now with Cobb in the room puts them on the bubble?
Cobb is now. I don't think Cobb is going to be like a number
2
5.
million.
Yeah. He's just there. He's there like you need that third down that you need to get type of player. He's not going to be. I mean, he's 30. What? 34, 33. He's not going to get major snaps. The youth is going to get the major snaps.
But yeah, I'm expecting like a 200-300, maybe 400-yard season from him.
Basically,
maybe 20-30 catches. Yeah. Just somebody that knows the Hackett system. I think that's all it is.
He protects us from Mims. Davis. He even protects us from Mecole Hardman. Let's remember, Mecole Hardman got injured last year. Didn't play in the Super Bowl. Didn't play in the AFC title game for the Chiefs. So he had a very bad injury.
Plus, it it gives a little competition to some of these later guys.
I agree. 100%. So, Afram, here on May 3rd, I asked Armin a couple minutes ago. For week 1, what do you think the starting offensive line is going to be?
My thing is going to be Brown on left, Becton right, AVT right. I have this feeling Tippmann wins the center job.
Okay.
And Lakeland on left. I think from what I'm hearing, his intelligence is up there, and I think he can grasp the offense real quick. Okay. And listen.
Said the same thing. Me and Afram, same brain.
Yeah. Same exact thing. I agree.
McGovern is 1 year. It doesn't hurt to have him as a backup. He's better than any other thing they have right now. I think they got that Redskin guy, whatever it was, Schweitzer, whatever it was. I think Tippmann, get some youth injected into that front line, because Becton's young, AVT's young. The left side is your oldest side, basically, if that. So why not?
And then the second thing I wanted to ask you too about the tight ends. Do you think like Kuntz is a healthy scratch? Do you think Rucker gets more than he did last year? What do you think with the tight end position? Do you think that Yeboah's on the bubble?
Yeah, I don't think Yeboah's. He'll end up being a practice squad or he gets cut. I don't even know what he's making. Probably very minimal. I don't know. The tight end's a question mark. I really don't know. I think we'll know in training camp at that point. There's nothing. No one's sticking out. And I doubt if Kuntz is going to be, there's some issues with him. They've talked about a little bit laziness on his end. But 6'7", you get him in the end zone.
Big boy.
Plus, he's 4.55 speed for 6'7". You can't cover him with a linebacker. He could change that whole offense up a little bit. Does he start? I don't know. I don't think so. But in certain situations, he can make a difference. So
I agree 100%. I definitely want to see what he can do this season.
I want Joe to be so wrong about Becton.
I think Mitchell only had that one issue. I think that was
he just had the blood clots that ended his
that was
season.
Caused by something totally non-football related, and I think they took care of that.
I hope it is.
I think it was just a matter. I think it was just a matter of getting him back to game shape at that point, which I don't think he's far off. I don't think it was anything more than they found some clots and
he only missed the final game of the season, right? Like he missed the final. Like he played when he started. He played most of the games up until the last game against Miami.
Yeah. And you don't take a chance like that when you have the clots. You have to worry about his health. Any of those clots, can moves and goes into his heart. That's it. They're from listening to you. I'm getting one.
One thing I'm going to say about this team, what Joe Douglas has done, the talent to have competition in camp.
Yeah.
The offensive line, the battles at both tackle positions, the battle for the tight ends is there. Even the back end of the receiving core has battles. Like, there's legit talent. We as Jet fans, when we didn't have this much talent on the team, we had to come up with stuff to talk about certain
Right.
camp battle positions.
Yeah.
But there is legit talent on this team with legit fighting chance, competition-wise.
No job should be safe.
Outside of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and there's
But in
reasons for
general,
that.
yes, there
Yeah,
should
no
always
job
be
should be safe.
competition.
You know, so this is good to have. It's, we haven't had this before. We haven't had someone who actually has a plan and is making it happen, who has a thought
And
process.
having the time to make it happen.
Yeah, and that's
they're
the
giving
biggest
them
thing that
time.
the Johnsons did. It was like, all right, you're not doing it. No, there's no giving anyone the length of time to do something.
Yeah.
And another thing is that he listens to people that he shouldn't be listening to get advice from.
Oh, Woody, you're talking about.
Woody, when he listened to a guy who what was his name? He was with the Texans, and then he told him to hire McCagnon.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about with the glasses. He became an NFL.
Yeah, like an analyst or type of guy.
What was that?
What was his name?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Charlie, is it Charlie something?
Charlie Callis or something like that. Casserly.
Yeah, Charles Casserly.
Casserly, yeah.
Yeah, he said that's a perfect pick. So that's the problem. You don't. Who knows if they could have convinced Favre to come back another year and not fired
Mangini,
because Mangini built that team.
Yeah,
he was good for
Rex
talent.
got all the credit for it.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Charlie, he must have had a good day at work today.
Yeah, he's in a good mood.
Because listen, things have happened in the past. Now we have some legitimacy going. He's not a boob, Joe Douglas. He's showing that he's intelligent and he's making the right calls. He's making some moves. And listen, we got to stop with this. Every move has to be the perfect move. I don't see any GM out there that's knocking it out of the park. Everyone's praising Howie Roseman now, but it's been a while since the Phillies been in there.
I mean, he I think it was him with the Wentz pick. Yeah. So you gotta that's one knock you could put on him.
Yeah,
the Wentz pick.
There's knocks on everybody.
Oh, absolutely. If they don't win, that was so. If they don't win that Super Bowl with Nick Foles,
right?
I don't know if Harry Roseman is still there.
We don't, but he won it, and now he stayed there. And now he's made these moves where he's bringing guys. When he loses guys, he brings in the guys to when it's time to get rid of them.
I mean, credit him for getting
He's got a system.
Credit him for getting DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was big. That was a surprise.
I wonder if the Jets would have called up, like how I said they should have called up the Lions to trade up to 12 for Broderick Jones. Maybe entice them to take Swift if they were taking Gibbs.
Go ahead.
Maybe they don't take Candy. Maybe the Lions say, okay, we know we're going to get Gibbs at 15. Just to,
I just don't think the draft was strong enough that any of these guys, if they took them, were going to start anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I think Broderick.
This was like a very much depth draft.
If they traded up for Broderick Jones, he's our starting left tackle.
And you still got to pay $10 million or whatever it is to.
You pay it. You pay it.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, I think if Broderick Jones was there, I think we would have.
Then to me, that's telling that they didn't love Broderick Jones. They liked the offensive tackles. They didn't love them.
Yeah, I don't think there was anyone past the first 10 that was really, it's not like last year's draft. Last year's draft went to the whole first round, was really loaded with talent, right? Every pick we were trying to, and that's why we moved up. We were getting guys. This year there was no one. We had 4 quarterbacks going, and most of the good linemen were going. The defensive tackle, Even the wide receiver didn't go until when? Till later.
The first one was
the
JSN.
Jigba drop.
Yeah.
he went
So,
to the Seahawks at 20.
yeah.
Seahawks, yeah.
So it's
Yep.
like there was no,
I mean,
and plus we're picking 15. It's not like we were picking 2 or 3.
No.
And we,
That's almost no man's land at 15.
Yeah. So,
But see, I got to be honest though. I don't know about. I mean, Armin said the same thing. From I didn't even know who Will McDonald was.
Because everyone was focused on the lineman, on O line. The only one that mentioned it was Kuiper. He said that McDonough is available right away at that pick because he thought it was an edge rusher.
Yeah.
So and like I say, he can be used. He can be used as a blitzer. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Even listen, Aaron Mabin was 200 and something pounds, 240, and he was fast. He was making this guy has incredible bending capability, doesn't he? He's got a quick step. So let's see how they use him.
I agree. It's just putting 10 pounds on quickly. I just hope that he can keep his speed.
Well, let's see.
I don't know if I'm like overthinking that.
Listen, he doesn't have to put the 10 pounds on, let's say, in July or August.
Yeah.
If he gains that 10 pounds by October, November, or even December, and we're still getting his burst,
exactly,
that's fine. I tell him not to rush to gain the 10 pounds of muscle. I would tell him to do it slowly but surely, so you keep that.
I'm sure they're gonna monitor it, and they're the ones that's gonna give him the program. But he's got he's got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of speed. I saw some of his things, some of his highlights. He doesn't give up. He chases after the ball.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
I think one thing that has to be surprising. Well, I think he could take Huff's spot because think about this: if Quinnen and Huff have big seasons, they're both UFAs after the season. You're going to pay both of them. You're going to pay both of them. If Bryce Huff comes guns a-blazing, has 8 to 10 sacks, are you paying him and Quinnen?
But you can draft a defensive tackle to replace JFM and use that money.
You could do that too. I think if anything, Huff is gonna be. I think Quinnen's definitely staying. I think Huff, if anything, is gonna be the one that's gone.
Yeah,
and maybe even Carl Lawson.
Lawson's gone next year.
You think so? 100%.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You can't trust him to stay healthy.
If it comes back, it's not going to be for 15. His contract ends this year, so if he wants to stay with the team, it's going to be a lot lower than that.
I want McDonald to take Lawson's spot more than Huff's.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep Huff. I'd rather have McDonald, Huff, and Jermaine Johnson going into the future.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's and Clemens too. Can't forget about Clemens. I love Clemens.
I think Clemens is moving to the inside, or is going to be a rotational piece where he plays inside and outside.
And I think he takes a step. I think he takes a step this year too. I think he's going to be more vicious.
I love that. I love when he got drafted and Sawa said, he goes to that dark place, and then when he got drafted, he's sitting in his bedroom in the dark. I love this guy. He's a freak, and I love it.
I think he just gets better. He's going to be a surprise. I think he's going to be if he goes on the inside.
Solomon Thomas could be a guy on the bubble.
Yeah, but let's see how many.
I think they like him. I think Salah likes him.
But we got all these players. Somebody's gonna have to go to get Cutter.
I'll be your puts, right? The cuts.
I like it. That's gotta be the new Jets Turbulence shirt. You guys got to get the shirt.
Well, I have an idea for a Jets Turbulence shirt. I'm going to let Joe and Dan know privately what the shirt should be. Got inspired by our sibling shirt from Tyson and Let's Talk Jets.
Oh, the Become the Dragon?
Wow.
Yep.
Carolina won 5-1.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Carolina. 1 down, 3 to go.
I don't think Jersey's making it past this. I don't think they're making it past Carolina, honestly.
Carolina plays a similar game and can score. They're very fast, very tight.
The Devils are very fast, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
They're young and fast, but Carolina as well, and they're just as aggressive. So let's see what game 2 would be. What today is?
No need to just put it out. No need to consult. Okay, I think the next shirt for us should be "Become the Cunts."
I like it. I reached out. I emailed Kuntz trying to get him onto the show, and his agent, whoever, said he couldn't do it. So I tried to get Kuntz on.
Well, I don't think we'll ever get him on unless he approves.
It's gonna be hard to get players that are on the
at
team
this time now.
Yeah, they're not gonna let these
with-
guys come on. That's the problem. Unless Dan can persuade, but even Dan.
If anybody can, it would be those guys. It'd be Dan and Joe.
Yeah.
Joe
Hi,
should
Dan.
be the one that tries to get Cunts because that was his choice.
Yeah. I'm afraid if Joe
Yeah.
calls, they're gonna hang up on him.
Yes, but believe it or not, when he was saying Kuntz for some he's been saying this for months. I thought he was a fake player.
Me too.
I was like, oh, there's a guy named Kuntz, and then all of a sudden, like the Jets draft Kuntz, and I texted Dan, and I'm like, wow, they actually got Kuntz, and then he was like, yes, they did.
When that pick was announced, I got on my
jaw
phone
dropped.
and I texted Joe, they drafted Kuntz, and he goes no, and I said yes, and I didn't hear back from him.
It's like
He-
junior Kuntz.
Yeah, he was projected to go the 3rd until the meniscus tear,
Yeah.
right? So
I think so. Yeah.
So
And he
third
just-
rounder, and this is not a bad pick, but that's
For a
6'7",
tight end,
really.
yeah.
I like that size, 6'7", and that speed.
Same thing for Candyman. I know Connor Rogers said, I saw him on one of his YouTube videos with the NFL Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
the running back Candy, and he had him ranked 70th. So he had him high, and where the Jets got him, he really liked.
Yeah, but see, like with the whole thing with Kuntz, I wonder if he gets playing time over Rucker. That's really like my big question. I wonder like what they're going to do there because it's it's definitely going to be Conklin and Uzama. They're going to be getting their touches.
Listen, it's competition with both of them, Ruckert and Kuntz. That's all it is. It comes down to competition. Should never be that because you were drafted the year before that you got ahead of the game. That's every year someone gets drafted and they can take your job from you. That's the beauty of competition. So
That's one big ass. That is
just
a big
think
ass
of-
Kuntz, yeah.
And think about this: the Jets have 2 Cunts on the team, and they're both named Zach.
Oh boy. All right, on that note, we're going on almost an hour and 45 minutes here. I originally said 20-30 minute show and then, escalated, which
Well,
I
that's
like. I
nice.
like it,
you
because
talk.
I wasn't even going to do a show. I was originally just going to talk about Cobb, do like a little short video, and then when they got Al Woods, I'm like, all right, we got this. We could talk about Becton. We could talk about AVT saying that he's healthy. I'm like, might as well just do a whole freaking podcast, and then turned into almost a 2-hour show.
Hey, there's so
I
much
like
to
it, though.
talk about now.
Yeah, there's a ton of Jets news. It's a real exciting time. I could talk Jets every day. I wish I could. If I had the time to, I would do a podcast every night if I
You
could.
might want to end this soon before Joe just starts putting stuff left. and
Yeah,
right.
he's just he's just
He's a
trolling at this
happy-go-lucky tweeter.
Yes, he is. He doesn't think before. He just says whatever's on his mind. He just tweets it out there, and he doesn't care if you like it or not. It's his opinion. He sticks to it. I respect him for that. He doesn't backtrack on anything he says. There's no waffles with Joe. So
He's always blaming
all right,
Dan
boys.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. Yeah. Dan, that. Oh, Dan's gonna have some explaining to do, I guess. That I don't even think he knows about. But all right, boys, that's gonna wrap it up for me. I think. Anybody else have anything before we wrap it up?
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on, man. I definitely come on more often. I'll definitely start sharing the link if you're
Yeah,
down
no,
to
I
come
got
on.
you. I get you. I get the alerts, so I try to come on.
Yeah, whenever you can. I appreciate it. Armin, same
support
thing.
you guys. It's good to support each other.
Liam, you were a big help for us at the meet and greet. Making it a foursome there.
That was a fun time, man.
Yeah,
That was a good stream. Seeing all those.
That was fun.
Yeah. to get all
The
those
ending,
players to
the
sit
ending was
down.
the best. Like that was when we were going to shut down, and then Kevin Malai comes over.
That was
And
great.
so gives that was when I got starstruck. I will admit that. Like that's when I got starstruck.
The fact that he came and sat down was so cool.
And we didn't even ask him to we didn't ask Kevin to come. He just came, and then the coffee cake and everything. It was the best.
And the fact that you were upstairs and there was no one around, I think that made it easier for them to come and sit down at the tables because there's no one could surround them and do anything.
And
they felt that
hijack them, and we got granted a very beautiful thing. Got granted some very beautiful access, and we weren't expecting any players to come.
See, when I got in, I was like on the bottom, and I didn't know how to get up there. So I'm like, how the hell? I'm like calling like Dan and Joe, and like they're not hearing me or anything. So then like I just try to like walk up there, and like, oh, you can't go up there. I was like, no, I work for Jets Turbulence, and they're like, oh, okay, go ahead. I got up, and then Dan gets me like the VIP pass. It was awesome show, man. Like, they were just like such sweet guys. Joe, Liam, and Armin. That Hofstra stream was great. Yeah, man, that's one of my favorite moments as a Jets YouTuber, to be honest with you. It's definitely up there.
Yeah, it was. But everyone had. You could see it. Everyone was having a good time. You could talk whatever you want, and the Ken O'Brien came. That was Dan's highlight.
Yeah.
But, Bruce Harper, Ken O'Brien.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff there.
And Connie came on. That was good.
Yeah. Because of that, I met Connie, and I was able to get Connie onto my show. So it was just
I saw that. That was good.
That network, was a good show. Yeah, she's the best. I talk to Connie all the time. I text her now all the time.
That's awesome.
Go back. Yeah. But all right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for me. I've been on about an hour and a half now. Armin, Afram, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you. Anybody in the chat, tomorrow night, Jets Turbulence Podcast, we have a very special guest. Please tune in, 8:00. I don't know who the guest is. Dan and Joe keep that as a surprise for me. They don't tell me. Unless they want me to do research, then they'll tell me. But obviously, I don't.
It'll be when it's a surprise like that. It's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, I mean it's a really big show. I'll be at work, so I can't call in, but I'll definitely be listening. Afram, I'm sure you'll be there.
Yeah, got to support the boys. I got to keep them in check sometimes too.
Yeah. You got to make.
You got to keep Joe. You got to keep Joe in check.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be part of your rotation now. You got Let's Talk Jets. You got Turbulence.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's good to support you guys. You guys are working hard at this, and you want to talk about the Jets. It's great.
We all have to be one big happy fucked up family.
Exactly.
Afram
Money sins.
And Armin, I think you guys got to do your research there. So I don't know who he is, so I think you guys might want to research him.
Well, I know who he is.
Armin knows everybody when it comes to that. So.
Oh man! All right, boys. On that note, I'll talk to you guys later.
Be well.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Be well. Good night.
Go Jets,
Love
everybody.
You all. Go Jets.
Love you guys too. All right.